Up next, measure ground control. Let's take a look. We have a familiar app that we've taken a look at in the Enterprise Drone Platform Showdown, drone deploy versus measure ground control. Let's just dive into just this capture portion for this particular episode, just so we can start to compare and contrast the different drone capture apps that are out there on the market today that are available for in the iPhone. These are all the ones that are available in the iPhone App Store. I don't have an Android, so I won't be reviewing the Android ones, but most of them work on both platforms and also on iPads and tablets. So both on smartphones and tablets. So you have your choice of preference of how you want to use them. So to make a map, it's really quite simple within here. In this case, I want to go to, I always start with flight plans. Click on flight plans. It's going to pull up a map. In this case, I can import Kml'S or Uscsb. In this case, I'm going to plan it right on the map to compare apples to apples. I'm going to go ahead and use grid. I'm going to do a new flight plan. We're going to call it test. And we're going to select a camera. In this case, it's going to be the Mavic 2 Pro camera. Next, in this case, I'm just going to set the flight location here, where it is. I don't have to click in an address. It's right down the street, so it's just going to click in. I can take a look right here. I have the flight area settings that pop up. I have everything that pops up here. I can move this whole box, which is handy. I can change what the box looks like, the shape, the size. I can still continue. I can rotate the box to change any of the settings. I can change the side lap and overlap. I can delete points. Let me zoom back in. There we go. I can change the direction. In this case, I want it to be 0, just straight north-south, but I can change it to any direction I want just by clicking on the direction. I can change the margin. How much I want it to fly past, that's pretty handy. How much I want it to fly past, that is actually a really good feature. You can also just plan your mission a little bit larger, but adding a little bit of margin will help the perimeter, the outside edges of the mission so that they don't, essentially that they stitch better. Change the speed. I still have all of my missions. I can see that it's going to take about 3 minutes to fly this. It's about 30 pictures. It's about 3 acres. These are all the settings that I have available here. I can set the altitude. I can go back down. I can also do terrain following. Same as well. Terrain following within here. In this case, set what I want that tolerance to be. It'll just within 5 meters per image. So that's pretty good, especially if it's a fairly large flat area with just slightly increasing or decreasing terrain. I also have terrain following available, so that is a handy addition to the app. I can turn that on, turn that off. I can also change the altitude. Let's make it 200 feet. It's going to go ahead and change that. You can see it actually did change the map to make it go up and down, lower elevations and higher elevations. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off because it is fairly flat. And from here, we're just going to go ahead and save flight. It's now saved and ready to fly when we go into the flight portion of the Measure app. That's simple. That's what we have available. I can change the base map easily. I always like to use the imagery, the satellite imagery. It's always easier to see. And I can add or delete points within here. So if I want to add this one, I can also delete it, put it back in. So that allows me to do that as well. So that's all that we have for Measure Ground Control. It's a complete but simple application that does allow us to do some things. There is no Lance integration directly within the app, but it does allow us to do several of the other things that some of the other apps are allowed us to do. Look forward to the end for the compare and contrast. So stick around.